all relate to.
And there it is. He just lays it all out there. You can almost hear the frustration in his voice, can't you? It's that vulnerable moment when you feel like all your hard work is just disappearing into thin air. A question I bet we've all asked ourselves at some point.
But what's really interesting is how the master responds. Or, well, how he doesn't respond. There's no quick, don't worry about it, no easy answer, just silence. And that's a pretty powerful move, right? It just lets that big question hang there, and it makes you and the student lean in to see what's going to happen next.
So the real lesson doesn't come right away. A few days pass. The master waits until they're sitting by a river, and this is where the teaching really starts. Not with a lecture, but with a really strange and what seems like a totally impossible task. Can you just picture this? The student is probably expecting some deep philosophical wisdom, and instead, the teacher points to an old, dirty strainer and says, "Bring me a drink with that." It must have seemed like a joke, or maybe some kind of weird test. Of course, the student is just baffled. I mean, the request makes zero logical sense. It's just basic physics, right? A strainer can't hold water, but it's his master asking, so he doesn't argue. He just figures, okay, I'll give it a shot.
And this is where the struggle begins. You can see how this physical task is basically a perfect metaphor for the mental frustration the student was talking about earlier. It's just this hopeless effort against a challenge you know you can't win. You can just imagine him running back and forth from the river, getting more and more desperate. He tries running faster to beat the leaks. He tries tilting the strainer a different way. He even tries to pluck up the holes with his own fingers. But nothing works. It's always the same. The water is gone before he can even get back to his teacher.
Finally, he's just exhausted. He's completely defeated. He drops the strainer and says what he believes is the honest truth. "I'm sorry. I failed. This was impossible from the start."
But this, right here, is the twist. This is the turning point of the whole story. See, the master wasn't testing if the student could carry water. Nope. The whole point of the exercise was the student's so-called failure. The master's reply is so simple, but it just changes everything. He gently nudges the student's perspective. He says, "You didn't fail." And then he tells him to stop looking at the lost water and to look at the tool he was using. And this is the big aha moment. The student looks down and he sees that the grimy, dirty old strainer he started with, it's completely transformed. It's shining, it's spotless, it's gleaming clean. See, the water never had to stay in the strainer to have an impact. The simple act of passing through it again and again and again was enough. It wasn't there to be held, it was there to cleanse. And right then, the master connects it all back to the student's original, frustrated question. He explains that our minds, they're the strainer, and all the books and articles